Connecting.
So now we're recording. So hello everyone, it's nice to see you all. Welcome to a new lecture. Vedran Sorić will talk today about, well, the title is What You Sell is What You See in the Mirror. That sounds very interesting. So Vedran...
I changed it.
Oh, you changed it. So please tell us the title, the new title.
Wait, I have to check. No, it actually the title was in the Zoom link, so I changed it in accordance to that, and the title is How to Sell Successfully. And
that's a good title. So Vedran, go on. I will mute myself.
It's a good title. That there is one thing about that title that I have to tell you right away. Just to see how can I do this. Wait just a second to share it with you. How can I wait? After all this, after all the time, okay. Now you should see the whole window of mine. Am I correct, Marusha?
Yes, we can see it.
You can see it perfectly. So, as I said, I've put it here, how to sell successfully. Actually, there is only one thing I can promise you about this whole lecture. It will take about 45 minutes to 1 hour. 45 minutes plus Q&A, I hope. And I hope to actually provoke you enough to have some questions, at least from the side of all the colleagues that are locked in this presentation. And the thing is that what I can promise you during this lecture, that I will not teach you how to sell successfully. This is the promise, because I cannot do it in 45 minutes, and it's simple as that. But what I can do is just to, let's say, shake a little bit your brain, and maybe potentially make you think a little bit more different. When I was preparing this presentation, I actually tried showing it last time we were all together in Urania, but I decided not to, and I decided to communicate with the participants there. And I have shortened it maximally, but now I will show you the whole batch, the whole presentation. I've made it in English, so I guess at least all of you should be able to understand what's going on there. Well, let's start by asking a question that I will answer, since I'm not sure how many people is there, because I have only my screen and I see only the presentation. And this is the question that I've been asking for the last 10 years, 8 to 10 years, on all my presentations, on all my lectures, and on all my trainings. And the question is very simple. What is sales? And who is the salesman? And why is the salesman so important in sales? And let me just start by answering those questions without going on further. Well, when people ask me what is sales, to be honest, I changed the definition several times in my life in the last 10 years. The last definition that I actually really like, and I've been using it for the last 2 years, and for me at the moment, it's the definition for what sales is that sales is just a word. And when I say it's just a word, I really mean it. It's just a word with S-A-L-E-S, with five letters. And but that word has a meaning. That word has a meaning, and it actually describes the way of communication when you want to sell something to somebody. By saying that would mean that in its essence, sales is basically nothing else than a proper communication. Is there? There is Lucia waiting. Sorry. Okay, I'm letting Lucia in. Okay, hello, Lucia. So in its essence, sales is just a word that describes the way of communication to the other party, to another person, to another entity, to another company, potentially, to a group of people. And there's somebody else coming, Nicolina. Okay. And by answering that, I actually trigger myself to answer even more questions. And this is, where does salesman come in, and why is it salesman and not saleswoman or saleswomen? I prefer to have it a salesperson. Maybe would be a better answer to that, or a better word to describe a person that is selling something, either a service or potentially a product. And that person is actually in the past times, let's say 20 years ago, before internet, a salesperson was the one that was delivering message to the other people. And by meaning delivering message would mean, in that time, it was delivering facts, figures, all those things that you could not find on the internet because there was no internet. So there were catalogs, there were leaflets, there were books about some, let's say, more advanced products. So the salesman would be that person, or the salesperson would be that one who would be going either door to door or company to company and deliver that information to the other party. In 2000s, actually everything started to change, because at one point, at the beginning of 2000s, I was reading that in an article. I think it was 2003 and 2004, as internet was developing. They actually said that sales profession as such will disappear because sales personnel will no longer be needed. And it's funny they said it that time, because from 2003, 2004, actually the sales force, the sales profession, and the people that work in sales actually grew by a lot of percent. I don't know the exact number, so I will not give you the wrong number, but actually it's growing constantly. It's growing so much that, for example, in USA, every person, every 1 out of 10 people work in sales. In Japan, it's 1 out of 4. In Europe, it's actually 1 out of 9. So sometimes it depends on description of the position, but these are facts. This is somebody who was actually measuring that, and they actually came up with that. But what actually changed? What is going on today with sales? So basically, a salesperson is not anymore. It's not anymore in charge of actually sharing the information, the facts and figures, and I hope you won't mind if I call it the boring stuff, because that stuff, all the facts and figures and all the information you actually can find today on the internet. So basically, what happened is a transition. I sometimes in my interviews I actually say that it's a transition one step back, because we go back to the people, we go back to emotions, we go back to something else, and it's not about the product or how much it costs, or a service, or something. So therefore, there is a great saying that, contrary to what most of the underperformers of most of the people that are not successful in sales, they claim that sales success is situational, but it's not. I claim that sales success is not situational. Definitely, it's not about the market, it's not about the product, it's not about the company, it's not about the competition, it's not about the price. It's not written here, it's kind of inside the market. It's not about the price, definitely. I can prove that in many cases that I actually have in my life. It's all about the seller, the individual. And this seller, this individual, that person who is actually selling and talking to other people, to other companies, to other entities, to other groups of people, performing, sometimes even presenting, is the one that actually does the thing. Maybe this sounds a little bit strange to you, but today selling starts when now this will Petra, you can correct me if you want, for sure, but what I like to say is selling starts when marketing stops. It's kind of glued together in a way, but as soon as you have the individual talking to another individual or a group of people, that's In my head, that's where selling starts. Everything before that is marketing. What would you say, Petra, if you are there with us?
I am there with you, but it just depends on who do you talk to. If you talk to salespeople, then everything is sales. If you talk to marketing people, everything is marketing. So that's as far as I know.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, because that's the beauty of it. And I've talked to a lot of marketing people, and they would say that sales is part of the marketing. And if you
Of
talk
course.
to hardcore salespeople, they would tell you that marketing is part of sales.
Yeah.
Actually, I would completely separate it and glue it together, because one without the other doesn't really work. Let's be honest. Because marketing actually attracts somebody to actually raise the interest in your product or service, and then as soon as the person interferes, that's when selling or the sales process or the sellers start to do their job. So that's how I see it. There is a lot of interpretations of that, but basically one without another doesn't really make sense.
But,
Marketing,
and of course, it depends on the size of a company.
Yeah, definitely.
It takes time for them to go separate ways. I mean, it takes a lot of people and divisions and stuff, from my experience.
No, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. I like to always to say to people, okay, if you have a huge production company, they can produce as much as they want, but if there is nobody to actually market it or sell it, they're producing for nothing, because it will just be in the backyard. So production is great, but on the other hand, if you don't have anybody to actually put it on a market or in the end sell it, then it makes no sense. But okay, tell me.
One more thing, I usually say to the founders, you cannot outsource sales. What do you think about it?
Honestly, I love that sentence. And this is actually, you told me one, this is a great quote from you. Thank you very much for that. You cannot outsource sales, definitely. But there is one person in the sales department you can outsource, and that's the sales manager.
Okay.
And why is that so? Because sales manager is responsible for people. And if he's a good organizer, then he can work with several teams. That would actually mean with several companies. If his focus or her focus is only on people, not only on processes, okay? In that case, you can outsource the sales manager because it's the least productive position in sales, and on the other hand, the most expensive one because of responsibility, of course. And I tried it and it works, because I am an outsourced sales manager to 3-4 companies today, and it's actually great. Because you meet the sales team from time to time, you see what they did, you give them some tips and tricks, they go on, and you get your fee for that. So it actually works. But definitely, I agree, you cannot outsource a sales team. You can maybe outsource also the how do you call cold calling, the telephone, the telephone team. That's cold calling and opening leads if you prepare them very good. But anything apart from that, you cannot. Okay, good. Thank you, Petra. Let's go on. Second one, of course, this is from Philip Kotler, and he was a marketing gear. He was a marketing guy, if I'm correct. And he actually said this quote that I've been using now for so many years. It's kind of worn off, this quote, but I still love it because I have a great experience with what happens if this doesn't change. So yes, the sales department is not the whole company. Of course, accounting, finance, and these parts of company are not sales department, definitely. But the whole company should be the sales department in a way. And when I say in a way, that would mean in a way of thinking. I'll just give you an example of what I mean by that. If you can even have a small company, 5 people working, and there is two people in sales and 3 people doing something else. Let's say marketing, accounting, and let's say some paperwork. And the company is situated somewhere. The phone rings and the wrong person answers. So let's say the person from accounting answers. And if the person from accounting answers and says, "No, you got the wrong department, this is not the right department," and hangs up, you lose the customer. in that sense, if all the people do not actually understand that they are part of sales process, the sales process will not be set up good. Meaning that if all the people are not aware that they are actually included in a sales process in a way, it's not good for the company. There was a story about Rimac company, I believe most of you heard of it, that in their job ad, that they were looking for the cleaning people. So either the cleaning lady or the cleaning guy who would join the company, because they're not outsourcing even that, because they want to have the customer experience that everybody is leaving the as one in Rimac. And Mate just pointed out that when they're employing people, it's a must to know English language. And actually, in a job ad for the cleaning person, it was added that they need to know English language. And it was kind of a scandal in the newspapers, because how can he do that? How can he ask something like that? He's discriminating. But actually not. There is a good explanation why. Because it's part of the customer journey and the customer experience when you enter this kind of company, that even a cleaning person should be able to greet you and ask you how you are. And to me, actually, it makes sense, because this is exactly what Philip Kotler says here. The cleaning person, it's not the sales department, but actually it is part of the sales mindset, of the sales feeling, of the sales department in a way. This is kind of outsourced salesperson. So rather to greet you in English and give you a smile, you will immediately feel better in the company. And again, it doesn't have to do anything with the product or the service that you're actually offering. It's about that feeling, how you would feel in a company that you actually come to. How does that sound? Petra, comment? Anything? I'm asking you because I know you are actually a lecturer as well. So
No, it sounds. I like it how it sounds. I just don't know sometimes how to implement it.
No, it is definitely hard to implement it, because there is always several ways to look at it. And there is always somebody that will tell you, no, you cannot do that. It's not fair. And in a way of thinking, it might not be, but actually, it should work like that in the end.
Well, I think that if we talk about entrepreneurs who are starting the company, then definitely everybody in the beginning should think about the sales and should work on it, because that's, I mean, when you are starting, the only thing you think about is how to grow.
I agree.
So you have to sell, otherwise you will not grow.
Yeah.
And when you're a bigger company, then you have some much.
Yeah. And you said it again, very good. You have to sell at the beginning, but what are you actually selling at the beginning? If you are just starting a business, what is that thing that you're actually selling? Are you selling the product or a service or something else?
What you see in the mirror.
Yeah, in a way. You're actually selling an idea or a story, in a way.
Yes.
But actually, you're selling what you see in the mirror, because if you don't trust yourself and what you see in the mirror, nobody else will trust you. So if you're not trustworthy, and this is the word trust, and it's very strong here. And if you cannot somehow transfer that trust to the potential customer, I doubt that you will do anything. You can have the perfect product, but it won't work if they don't trust you, if you don't trust in the product or the service.
Yes.
Yeah. So start with trusting yourself and trusting your product or your service, and then make a story about it, and then try to present it, or in the end, sell it to somebody else. Because sales is the last step. Once the sales is done, the whole process starts again. And it never ends. I always like to say to people, when does the sales start and when does it end? It starts with the picking up the phone and saying hello to the person, or sending an email or anything, and it never ends, because once you've sold something, then you can upsell, cross-sell, or offer something else, or offer some new service. And usually your customers are the best people to actually make you think what else you could offer them, because once you're in sales, you're actually digging for problems and issues, and you're trying to find different challenges of your clients and try to solve them. And basically that's the sales in a sense. Okay, I'm getting creative now. Good. So this is from Philip Kotler, and it's quite an old quote. Maybe you've seen it somewhere, but I really do believe in it, and I've seen so many times that it really doesn't work, especially in quite big companies and in corporations. I've actually changed in my life 3 corporations. Now I work as an outsource manager for the 4th one, and it's amazing how corporations actually have the same modus operandi, mode of work. And as I don't know how to tell it, but it's kind of the idea of the corporation is to actually put you in a box and kill all your creativity in a way, and it looks so great from the outside, and when you're inside so too long, then you just feel trapped. At least I felt trapped. It's for some people it's very good actually. Some people like that. It's security. It's, sometimes I don't like to be secured. And in a way, when I tell people, especially if you want to start your own business, then it's the quote I always use, and actually do it like that. It's no risk, no fun. If you really are not ready to risk anything, then you will not have fun in what's going on and what is going to go on. So risk a little bit in case you want to start your business. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You can lose some money and some time. Okay, let's go on. I've put down here 6 bullet points for you, just to make you think a little bit. When people ask me about sales, they always tell me, okay, give me some tips and tricks, give me something to manipulate with people, or give me some great tools that I can use. Yes, tools are great. And you can find like hundreds of books about tools on sales. But tools, honestly, are useless if you don't have this, what's in front of you. So basically the question is, what makes great salespeople great? And by great, I mean successful, okay? So in the first one, it's patience. I like to say patience because maybe you would not put it on the first place. I do put it because after so many years in sales, I realized that the worst thing that you can do in sales is push. And the more you push, the least you have the results. With patience, you actually give the other side, the other person, the other company, the other group of people, you give them some time to actually think about it and make their own decision. And by patience, I can give you one tip and one trick and one thing that you can actually use with patience. Don't tell people what they need. Ask them what they need. Once you ask them, by asking the questions, they will realize what they need. In the end, you just have to say, yes, we have that. We can offer that. But it's different. It's a huge difference between when you tell them they need that, what you have, and when they actually realize by themselves and they actually pronounce it and say it, that they actually need it. So be patient. Ask questions, be patient, and let your customers decide at their own speed. That's very important. All the customers are different, especially with big systems that there is a lot of people included in a decision-making process. It's easy with small companies. It's easy with one-man bands. Maybe it's not easy, but it's definitely easier and it's faster. And the amount of patience, it's definitely different. But patience, it's, for me at least, it's definitely number one, to understand what patience actually is. On the other hand,
I have a comment.
Yes, please.
One thing I link to patience is listening.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are able to listen,
Mm-hmm.
then you have patience.
Yes, definitely.
So
definitely.
I
But
think
yeah, definitely
that they're not able to listen.
Yeah, definitely. This is a good point because by having patience, you're patient enough to listen long enough for the people what are their issues, problems, and challenges. And from that perspective, yes, patience, listening is definitely a very huge part of patience. If you're not patient, you're not able to listen. Yeah, would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Great, thanks. On the second position here, I've put commitment, and it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of opposite of patience, but it's not. It's part of patience, because if you're patient and committed, then you also give time for the people to actually decide on their own time, but also you're committed to actually help them go through that decision. So in the end, you're committed to your customer success and to your own. And you can do whatever it takes, while in ethical and legal bounds, of course, to get the job done. But by that said, that would mean that actually, whatever you do, don't give up easily, and don't do that thing which is actually assume. And this is completely opposite of listening. So if you're listening, you're not assuming. If you're assuming, then you're in a big problem, because assumption is the mother of all. Petra, can you say the word?
No.
Okay.
Of all of, well, it's a bad word.
It's a bad word.
Well, I don't say that.
F-ups. F-ups. Is the mother of all F-ups. And it's true, it's definitely. And even I who know that and who teach that, I assume. And I catch myself assuming something, and interpreting it to myself as it is the fact. And it's not. It's a pure assumption. And based on that assumption, I make wrong. I'm deducting wrong. And if I'm deducting wrong, I cannot be correct to the customer, and I cannot make a good decision for the customer. And in the end, I cannot make a good decision for myself. In the end, I will not be able to sell to that person or company or a group of people. Okay, so patience plus listening, commitment plus getting rid of assumption and focusing on facts. Then on third place, enthusiasm and curiosity. Well, this is a topic that we can actually talk for several days, only this number 3. And it's hard to say, and it's hard to actually explain it in such a short period of time, but just, those kind of people, when you see them, when they enter the room, the whole room shines. It's full of positivity, it's full of enthusiasm. And these kind of people actually, they make it look very simple to sell. And it's funny because the customers, not only customers, but all the people will pick up your enthusiasm about anything, whatever you do. They will pick up your enthusiasm and believe in your ability to improve their lives. So it's not only about sales, it's about generally, it's about being with people, communicating with people. And on the other hand, curiosity and learning is essential to growth, because if you're listening, you're learning. It's that simple. So if you're listening to your customers, you have patience to listen, you're learning about their issues and their problems, and then you are showing curiosity. And if you're enthusiastic about the curiosity and being able to listen long enough and be committed to actually solve their problems, it's perfect. It's a perfect mixture. So you can see how it all adds up when you actually talk about all these steps. And in the end, you have to have a courage. Not in the end, but on the fourth place. You need to have definitely courage, because, and this is again going back to what I said, it's no risk, no fun. You need to take necessary risks. I will just give you a risk: being courageous to actually pick up the phone and call somebody. And by that, I would mean, don't assume that the other person will not answer the phone. Do not assume that the other person is buying from your competition. Do not assume that because you saw a picture in the newspaper of your competitor playing golf with the boss of the company you want to call, do not assume that they're friends. Just be courageous enough, call them, be patient enough to listen to their problems, be committed enough to actually try to find a solution to their problems, and be enthusiastic and curious about what is essential for their growth. So again, it adds up. It's perfect. I love this. Now I'm being enthusiastic about my own presentation. That's perfect. Then on the fifth place, it's integrity. And this is something that actually sometimes people forget about it. When I mean sometimes, I've met people that at one point they're being very successful. They all do all the 4 steps, and everything is great, and everything is doing. They're doing perfect. At one point, they become very successful, but at one point, some of those people lose their integrity. So if you don't have the integrity, there is no disconnect between your stated purpose and your real motivations. What motivates you? Is it only the money or something else? Money is the result of sales. It's only the result. But what motivates you? What drives you? Is it the curiosity? Is it the enthusiasm? Is it you want to learn something from your customer? What is the drive that actually takes you toward the end, toward the goal, which is at the end the money? Some people and I had unfortunately I met three people that actually happened. This actually happened to them. Everything was good. They were on the good way, and at some point they just lost their integrity. They focused only on money. And when you focus only on money in sales, at the beginning, you think you're right because you're just looking at the numbers are growing and everything is great, but you forget the first 4 steps, and you start losing your integrity. Once you start losing your integrity, your numbers go down. Believe it or not, it happens. And it really does happen. And unfortunately, these colleagues of mine did not do very well after they lost it. And they had everything before. They had a great product, they had a great service, they had a great price, positioning, marketing, everything was done for them. But at some point they lost integrity. And everything before just collapsed because their customers lost the trust in them, because they were not patient enough. Because these guys were not patient enough. They were not committed to their customers. They were not enthusiastic and curious about what their customers are doing, and they were too lazy to actually pick up the phone and find new customers. So just started to collapse everything. And last but not least, and this actually flexibility is here. Sorry, happening all day. This just a second. Flexibility is here in the last place, not because it's on the last place. In today's business, I would even put it on the first place. But actually, it actually is on the last place just because it joined last. Before, as I said in the beginning, before 2000, before the internet, flexibility was not so important at one point, because you were mostly talking about facts, figures, and pricing, and only the, let's say, and you needed only hard skills in sales, not so much soft skills. So flexibility was not that big of a deal. Today, I would say flexibility is, if not everything, it's a big part of the sales wheel. If you're not flexible, you're not able to sell. If you're not flexible to adapt to different kind of people, you're not able to sell. By saying different kind of people, that would mean different characters, different people with different values, people with different let's say religions, people with different skin color. If you're not able to be flexible, you will not be able to do sales properly, and it just doesn't work. So if you've got flexibility, you can observe what is working and what is not, and change your approach to match changing circumstances. And this is so true. In today's business, in today's sales, without this, you're not able to do anything. And trust me with this. I've tested it. And this is what's happening to, let's say, rigid. There are some very rigid corporations that do not want to change their business model, and they're really in pain today. And the last 2 years, let's say, COVID years, even year and a half, showed us that the one who is flexible will survive and will strive and will actually develop the company, For example, last year my company did the biggest results ever, and I was trying to understand why we did so well, and I realized it's only about flexibility. Because while everybody was whining and everybody was crying, I completely changed the business model, just adapted. So being flexible actually today offers you to do something else and to actually adapt to what is needed on the market at that time. Maybe I'm being rude when saying, or maybe aggressive when I say it like that, but I strongly believe in that, and it's kind of my emotion that actually drives this flexibility. So there are six of them, six reasons why what makes great salespeople great, why they're so great. And is there anything else that you would add to this list? Anybody? I'm okay that if anybody wants to add something to this list, I'm open to that. But actually, all of these add to each other. If not, that would mean that I'm right and I'm happy about that. And moving on from that, that actually brings us to something that I love this slide. This slide is with me for the last 6 years, 7 years. If you're laughing now, that's good. If you're confused, that's not good. If you think, Vedran, what is that? It's a joke, of course. Don't worry. To be successful in sales, it actually takes only 3 things. And let me simplify it for you, completely simplify it for you. Let me just see if I can new share. Okay. Let's go back to this. So you can now see my whiteboard, yeah? Correct? I guess, yes.
Yes,
So, yes, great. So I'll just put it in a text here. So I would say there is the sales success formula is actually very basic and very simple. Today I will not have time to actually explain you how it works in deep and to actually give you some examples of why it works. I will just give you the facts and the parts of the formula, and then it's up to you to actually interpret it in your business in a way. So the first part of the formula is job skills. And this is something without what you cannot do your job. And this actually depends on what you do. So if you are in let's say automotive business, you need to know something about cars. You need to know something about engines. You need to know something about safety of those cars. You need to know something about airbags, how many of it the car has. So these are the job skills. You need to know how to use the software to actually order a car. You need to know how to use the software to actually issue an invoice. So these are the job skills that actually give you the skills to actually do your job. And only knowing job skills, you can't really sell. Trust me, you'll understand why after I show you the rest. In accounting, you know all the programs, everything there is about P&L. So everything there is to know about assets, EBITDA, and stuff like that. But it will not help you to actually. It will help you in a way to sell that, but only that you will not be able to sell because of that. So in job skills, this is what your company gives you. That will enable you to actually be knowledgeable about what you're doing. I hope I explained it right. Then, second part of the sales success formula is sales skills. And before I go to that, let me just go back to job skills and just tell you one short story about it. Job skills is something that some people, for example, in IT business, you have an IT guy or IT lady, they come to a meeting and they bombard you with all the details and facts and figures and everything there is about their product, their service, their software. It's so good, it's so great, and they start talking in the language that you do not understand. And that would mean that they actually became the slave of their own knowledge, because they want to just share knowledge, share knowledge, share knowledge. I know this, I know that, I know that. And they bombard you with that, and then you just walk out confused out of the meeting. And a confused buyer is a lost buyer. So this is a saying in sales: if you confuse your potential customer, he is not your customer anymore, because he's so confused he doesn't want to buy from you. It's simple as that. So don't be a slave of your job skills. There is something else in play here. So second part is sales skills. And this is the learnable part of sales. So there are books, I think there are more than 100,000 of books about sales questions. So just Google sales questions and you will see how many results you will get. And yes, you can learn all those questions. You can definitely learn them. People do that as well. But what those books don't actually tell you, it's when to use them and how to use them and how to be secure when you're using them. That would mean it doesn't tell you, okay, in 7th second of the conversation, use question number 5. After 30 seconds of conversation, use question number 10. After 1 minute and 32 seconds, use question number 15. No, it doesn't work that way. You can learn it, but if you don't know how to interpret it, if you don't feel the other side, nothing will happen. There is a lot of sales skills, there is manipulation skills, there is hypnotic skills you can learn. But if you don't know how to use it, and if you're not being okay with what you're doing, they will not work. So basically, you have job skills without, if you use only them, you cannot sell. You have sales skills. If you use only them, you don't know what you are selling and to who you are selling, and you don't have feelings. And there is something else missing here. And over the time, the name of this last column was changing in this formula. And this formula, by the way, is 70, 80, 90 years old, 90. And it still works today because it's completely okay. I'm completely okay after all these years of selling, seeing all kinds of formula telling me that the more customers you have, the more you will sell. No, it's not true. Especially today when you can actually prepare for your customers. It's not true. Maybe you don't trust me, but it's not. And so the last part of sales success formula is, sorry, I'm not writing. Identity, who I am or who am I? And if I'm okay with knowing my job skills and sales skills and how I interpret them, and is it working or not? And the funny part about all of this, because it's really a formula, so you can put a plus between these two. Oops, sorry. You can put a plus here. You can put this in brackets. I don't think it will work like this. Sorry. You can put it in brackets, this part, like this, or like so. But the thing, what actually differentiates you and what actually gives you the success is the multiplier, which is you, yourself, and I. Basically, what differs you from everybody else having the same job skills and the same sales skills will actually be part of your success. Otherwise, it will not work. Now I would give you a couple of examples, but okay, we can basically. I can give you part of one example that you would all know. Donald Trump. His job skills proved to be good. He made a lot of money. Okay, he bankrupted a couple of times, but he definitely has the job skills. He understands the jobs. He understands what he needs to understand. He's good at what he does. Sales skills, definitely. Otherwise, he wouldn't make a lot of money. His identity, his persona, it's up to you to decide. You either like him or not. If you dislike him, you will not work with him. He will not sell to you. If you do like him, then you will buy from him. So if you put here 10 plus 10 is 20, but if you don't like him, it will be 0. So altogether it's 0. But maybe another person with lower job skills, lower sales skills, but with the identity that you would understand and like and accept, will be able to sell to you. How does this sound? Can I get a comment or something? Is there anybody who would be willing to actually give a comment on this? Does this make sense to you or not?
This makes sense to me, but it's the questions. Okay, identity. It's multiplier. It's kind of our X factor.
Exactly.
And so I'm immediately on the next steps. Okay, what to do with yourself to increase that X factor? What?
Yeah. We could talk now about
how to see yourself as a salesperson, what to do with, because many people do have limiting beliefs about sales, also as something I don't know.
It's identity. I like to group identity in four different. I will write it down so you just have it here as well. There is 4 parts of identity. The first part is our character. And this is something that we are born with. This is something that you cannot basically change. You can maybe influence a little bit, you can adapt, but basically deep inside, you are you, okay? The second part, it's, did I write it right? Beliefs? No, it's not right. Okay, but you know what I mean. Beliefs. So these are the, let's say, or beliefs, or maybe even better, values. Your values, your beliefs, what you believe in, and what are your values. This is usually done by your parents till the age of 5, 6, depends how long they influence, and put the values inside your head. And then over the years, it develops, and then you start deciding for yourself what are your beliefs and values. Then the third part is education. Education and knowledge. Education and knowledge is basically something that you decide to do or not to do. You can develop yourself over the years a lot. And education and knowledge will, in a way, influence your beliefs and your values. The more you learn, the more you change, correct?
No.
And the last but not least, it's what?
Surrounding.
Is exactly. People you're surrounded by, your friends, your co-workers, your business partners, they influence also to what you should be educated about, to your knowledge, and then at the end to your beliefs and values. But in the end, character, deep inside, it stays intact. In a way, deep inside we do not change, but we can, thanks to beliefs, education, and surroundings, we can adapt. And this is all part of our identity. Now, if we would go deep into this, you would see how to do that. You can do it step by step. There is a lot of methods. Today, it's very popular to go. You can do it with NLP. You can do it with hypnotic kind of solutions. You can even do what's the name? Help me, please. When you mindfulness, all these things would actually help you to change your beliefs and values, and actually influence, in a way, the change of your character. But deep inside, it's not actually changing. You're just adapting it to your surroundings, in a way, to what surrounds you. And this is basically this is basically my message to everybody who is listening to this. If you want to do something perfect, do it. Learn your job skills, get ready for everything, learn a lot about sales. There are great books written. I would suggest definitely one of the book on sales that I like a lot. It's Daniel Pink. I always recommend this book as a starter in a way. To sell is human. And it actually, in a way, it actually explains this formula much deeper. But it doesn't focus so much on job skills because it doesn't matter. It's really different from company to company and from business to business. It focuses a little bit on sales skills, but it focuses quite a lot on the identity. So in a way, if you want to read a little bit about it, it's a great book to start with. And to wrap it up, let's go back to the presentation so I can close this. Okay. And let's go back. No, you don't see the presentation, huh? Just a second. Have to go back to start this. Share. And now put it on. Okay. So yes, sales success formula is actually very simple. It's not this complicated but in the interpretation, sometimes this is enough. A little bit is just enough to solve a huge problem. Sometimes it's quite complicated because you don't understand the other side who you are talking to. And yes, it happens. It really does. And wrapping it up at the moment is, I found this, and this is something that's been on the internet also for quite a long time, that 85% of your financial success is due to your personality and ability to communicate, negotiate, and lead. Only 15% is due to the technical knowledge. And going back to the formula, it's exactly what it explains, because the part that you learn, that you know, it's only 15%, 85% is everything else. It's your personality, ability to communicate, negotiate, and lead. But the funny thing about this quote, it's not the quote itself. It's who actually came up with this. And do you know Petra by chance?
No.
No. It's interesting. It's interesting because I was really curious to find out who actually said that. And it's not a person. It's actually the whole department on the Carnegie Institute of, believe it or not, Technology. So Carnegie Institute of Technology came up with this. And this is funny because they're focused on technology, and then they say this. And this is what fascinates me the most. So dig a little bit. It's quite interesting how they got to this. Hello, Petra. Now I can see you. Not anymore. And that's why I leave it here. I can see you again. Great. Now I'm not talking to myself anymore.
We are here all. Don't worry.
Yeah. Good. And the last but not least, and this is always my last slide, is that knowing that when I go back one slide, that due to your personality, ability to communicate, negotiate, and lead, to simplify it, your smile at the end is your logo, personality is business card, and the way you leave others feeling after an experience with you or after the conversation with you, this is what becomes your trademark. And this is the way to actually cross-sell, upsell, and do everything. Because if people feel good in your company, they will recommend you to somebody else. Rarely they will recommend you only because of your product or your service. In service business, yes, maybe, but when it comes to products, not so much. This is what they will remember. And this is the wrap-up of today's little story about how to be successful in sales. So as I said, I doubt you learned something concrete, but at least I hope I shaped a little bit your mind and the way of thinking about what sales actually is. So if there are any questions or if you want to comment on anything, I'm here and open for discussion, as always.
Well, Vedran, thank you very much for the presentation.
Thank
I believe everybody has some questions within themselves about it. Okay, is this sales or is this more of a character building, whatever? Well, I have to say I'm looking forward to our program when we will discuss each case, and actually then we will go in deep of how to sell what anybody is selling, because of course in general in 45 1 hour you cannot.
Yeah, and honestly, to be completely honest and open, it's very hard to generalize sales. It's really case by case, and it's always person by person, case by case, product by product, service by service. And it's much easier to actually be concrete and work on different services and products when it actually makes sense. Thank you very much, Hilal, as well. Happy to have you here on board.
It was great, Vedran, like always.
Thank you.
It was a very, very nice presentation, and thank you. And
Thank
as
you.
Petra said, we will have opportunity to talk about every case. And Hilal, you can maybe, if you have any questions for Vedran, you can send me on the email where we talked till now. So see you all on some other occasion.
Yes. I agree. Tell me, Petra.
See you all in our incubator program.
Exactly. And then we'll meet in person and we can work on your cases, and I will be more than happy to do that.
So I think that's it for today.
Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and have a nice evening, everybody. Ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.